Hi, are you stuck at work with a lanyard or a badge holder that leaves a little to be desired? Let's fix that. Let's make something pretty with some beads and some wire. You can hold your iPhone, you hold your work badge, you could add some charms to make it even more personalized. So join us. Hi, this is Tweek. Where I used to work, they handed out badges that we had to use to get in and out of the workplace, and that's okay. They were never very nice though. So here's an example. Piece of plastic that holds your identification and a cord. I'm going to tweak this. We're going to make something nicer. For this project, I'm going to use beads and wire and some clasps, and we're going to make a nice lanyard for my daughter. She works at MSU, so we're going to use MSU colors, and here we go. The first thing we do is measure out the length that I want. I'm going to use the length of this table. That works out just fine. And I'm going to give it a snip. Now this is wire, so it will last and be more durable than plastic or elastic. So I'm going to start by taking the wire and adding a crimping bead. And once I get the crimping bead on the wire, then I'm going to take a lobster claw hook and I'm going to run it on the wire and then take the wire over the hook and back through the crimping bead. And then I have to decide how long of a hoop do I want here for the hook to ride on. So I'm going to pull back the wire a little bit till I get a hoop that's closer to the claw. And I like about that much space. And then I'm going to hold that little X in place and crimp the bead, which means taking my pliers and count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Give it a nice quick squeeze. The wire's really good and stable. That's why these lanyards are good for cell phones and other things too. So as I determine the bead pattern I'd like to use, I know the colors I wish to use. I need to figure out how to begin and end the lanyard so it matches on each side. And since I'm using little letters, I need to make sure they're placed in the right order and in the right way so that when you use the lanyard, you can read it properly. And I'm getting some fancy little ending beads here, little cat beads. I want the ending to look nice, and whatever I do on one side, replicate on the other. So I've got the hook, got the crimping bead, I've got the green bead, and I've got a little cat bead. And I think it's going to be as simple as that. So let's do the cat bead first. And I want it facing in a certain direction so that it faces up. I use it to hide the remaining wire. That's simple and nice. And now I'm going to put the little decorative bead. And I'm going to tuck the wire into that bead. Okay, and that's our start. See, it's already pretty and we've got hardly anything on there. Now I'm going to put a couple of, I think I'm going the pattern, it's green and white. So I'm going to go green, white. You could do this for any school, any team. Just get some beads, make yourself a holder that speaks to you. So I've got that far, and now I'm going to put on the MSU, so it would look MSU. And now I'm just going to, in a pattern, follow this here. So green and white, and green and white, and green and white. And here we go. That's going to be pretty. What is so relaxing about stringing beads? I'm not sure, but it is. Easy, repetitious. You end up with something pretty in the end. And when I get down towards the end of the wire here, I'm going to repeat the pattern that I did initially in the beginning of the lanyard. So I'd say I'm going to do a few more. Let's see how we got here. I'm using this as a guide, so I'll need at least that much wire to finish. So I'm going to stop right now and start doing this. So the MSU is going to go backwards because I want it to read the same way each time. So M, C. If you're wearing it, M, okay, S, and check to make sure. So it's hanging on your neck and you see MSU, MSU. That's good. And now we've got the finishers. Got another green, another white, another green. Now I want the fancy little bead, and I want the bead cap. And now we need the crimper bead, and then we need the hook. And what I'm going to do here, they're sitting next to each other, I'm going to keep taut on the beads so they don't slide forward. And then I'm going to take this wire and go back through the crimper bead. And so I got it through the crimper bead. Now I want to keep pushing to take it through a few more beads if I can manage it. Get it to come out the other side. So now I've got all that excess there. I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to pull this taut, push these beads down on the wire. So see what I've done? I've tightened down where the lobster claw is. I'll give a little more space back. And I've got this all taut, so there's no gaps. And I'm going to leave it right there. Give it a crimp. There's the crimp. And now I'm just going to snap that wire off. And then I'm going to tuck the little teeny bit that's left into the next bead. And there we go. Done! Oh, but I have something else to add. And this is a very simple little clip-on. I'm going to clip the charm onto the wire. Okay, so there we have it. We have a lanyard holder. I just clipped on a little charm because she likes kitties. That was very relaxing. I want to do another one, so I'm going to. This time I'm not going to do a school theme. I'm just going to do a woman has to go to work at the insurance company theme. So here we go. Let's measure our wire. And I want it to be, I used the table before, and that worked out pretty well, so let's do that again. If I have too much wire, I can cut it off. So we're going to start with these prettier beads. A little more, they're still glass, and I'm going to do the simple pattern. We got to start off with the crimper bead. And we put our lobster claw. But I don't want it to be wasted wire either. So I've got a little spot there I think is the right distance. I'm going to crimp that bead, hold down very tightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good enough. And there it is. It's crimped. It's not going to come out. That wire's holding and the lobster claw is secure. Now I have to decide what kind of pattern I wish to use on each end of the lanyard. So I've got the crimper and the lobster claw. I've got a pretty under bead and a couple of fancy beads. I think I'm going to run with this pattern and see how it looks. This bead usually is the one I use to hide the wire. And now I'm going to put a couple of fancy beads. Oh, that is kind of pretty, isn't it? I'm thinking there's too much bling there because we've got to highlight the beads. So I'm going to pull one off, see what I think. See, change your mind. Just give it a twist and change it. I like that better. I like it a little more simple. So now that I've got the pattern, away we go, stringing the beads. We've got these black beads, and I'm going to put the shiny ones more with the non-shiny ones. Well, I mean, they're shiny, they just don't have bling on them. And we'll see what happens here. Oh, yeah. I think that's a good combination because it highlights the beads. They have a little bit of bling, a little bit of shine, not too much. If it was for me, I'd put even more on there, but this is for somebody who's a little more sedate than myself. I check to make sure I've got the right pattern because I would tear it all out. I'd unstring them all if I had something off. This looks like it's good. I'm going to keep going. 5 more beads. And we're just about done here. Now, how did I end the last side? Or start the last side? So if you can see, next to that bead there, I did not have a little black bead, so pull that off. So we're going to pattern and mirror the same pattern. So we've got this big bead first. Okay. Then a little halo bead, I call them. Oops, right here. Okay. a little capper bead. Okay. Then we need the tiny, tiny little crimper bead. Okay. So what I'm going to do is try to go through the next bead here. Get some of this extra wire. Here we go. Push it through that bead, through the cap bead. I'm going to try to get it through to the tall bead, and I did. Good. Now what I'm going to do is pull off the excess. Keep the little crimper bead in handy. Hang onto that bead. Pull some of the excess out. A little more. Bringing the lobster claw hook closer. And see how much of a space did I leave on the last one. That's pretty close, so I'm going to go ahead and crimp that bead. Got it. Hold it for a few seconds hard. It is crimped. Going to cut off the excess wire and call it good. And then hide it in. Now, because it's the person I know that's going to receive this nice little lanyard, likes puppies, I picked up a puppy charm for her. I'm going to attach it to right above the hook, and there you have it. Oh, now see, that's really cute and personalized. Isn't that nice? That's a puppy charm. So I don't have one of her work badges here, but I do have an iPhone. It's about the same size, and you get an idea of how this will sit when she wears it. It's got her own little personal little charm there, and she could add more charms if she wanted to, but that turned out very pretty. And then the one for my little sister. There's another iPhone holder I had here, and you can get an idea of how it hangs. And there you have it. Isn't that pretty? If you like what you've seen here today, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment. You'd have so much fun making these for your own special team. See you again.